Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about practical problems and also how to think about the problem that you really want to address in your study, and also how to use AI to help you to come up with a very good practical problem. As you may know, there are two types of problems when you are thinking about research. We have the practical problem and we have the research problem. Normally, you identify a specific a problem that is happening in real life situation, right? So the problem that is tangible, that you can see, that people have experienced. And then the research problem is a problem that you identify in the literature when you're trying to find out what has been done and what needs to be done, so that you'll be able to fill the gap that you have identified and also contribute to the knowledge of your field. Most of the time, research starts with the practical problem, a real world problem, the challenge that you can see or that is happening in the real world. Like the LA fire is a practical problem, right? Or burnout among primary healthcare physicians is a practical problem. Or not knowing how to use AI agents effectively and ethically in research. Normally, the practical problem, you have to make it such a way that is narrow so that you'll be able to investigate and do research. And the practical problem should be manageable, right, in scope in terms of addressing it. Because of limited time and resources, you may not be able to address the whole problem. Sometimes you have to look at an aspect of a problem that you can address. Practical problem is useful especially when you are doing action research. It's all about identify a practical problem and then do research to help you to address the problem. Sometimes you may not really understand the scope of the problem. You can do research to better understand the problem. All the stakeholders have little knowledge about the problem. You can do research to help to really see the stakeholders' perception about a specific problem that you have identified. Maybe they know the problem, but we don't have the solution. You can do research to come up with a solution or an intervention. Or you can even implement an intervention and see the effect, how the intervention is addressing the problem. That's about action research. But when you're doing a traditional research, you may have to also think about a practical problem, because sometimes you identify a practical problem, you do more research, look into the literature and help you to come up with a research problem, and then you have your purpose of the study, have the methodology, do research, address the gap, and then indirectly help to address a problem that you have identified, right? So this is about the practical problem. It's a real world challenge or issue that you have observed. So another thing is, in terms of identifying the problem, you always have to think about defining the problem, making it so concise. Ask yourself, what specific problem have I identified? And you also have to avoid broad topics. How do you avoid broad topic? By asking yourself several questions like, who are affected by the problem? What has been done in terms of addressing the problem? Which aspect of the problem that you can do research to really help you to address? Making the problem too broad make it difficult for you to do research. So you always have to make sure that you have narrowed down the problem. And as I said, there are many ways to ask yourself some questions and then see what has been done in the literature. It can also help you to come up with a manageable one. Ensure that the problem is manageable. Some of the problems you have identified may be very difficult to do research to address. So you always have to make sure that the information is manageable. Another thing that you have to think about is when you are thinking about a practical problem, you always have to think about who are affected by the problem, who are the stakeholders, who do you think the problem is so important to them, who will benefit from the solution. And these are the things that you have to think about, right? That will help you to narrow down the practical problem. Another thing that you may have to think about is, why is this problem important? You have to explain the implications and the consequences of the problem. So in case nothing is done about the problem, what is really going to happen? What lessons can we learn if we allow the problem to go unsolved? What are the implications? What are the consequences? What are the results of unsolved problem? What will be the consequence if we try to solve that problem? If we do research to eliminate the problem? Because you cannot just say that there's a problem without providing a justification, right? Provide justification in terms of you are highlighting the urgency and the need for the research. Why do you have to spend time and resources solving this problem? I think providing the importance of addressing the problem is so relevant when it comes to doing research and exploring the problem that you want to address. In terms of approach, right? So you always have to think about how you want to approach this problem, especially when you're doing action research. You have identified a problem. How do you want to approach it, right? And what methodology do you want to use to approach it? Do you have to come up with an intervention and find out from the stakeholder what do they think about the intervention solving the problem, or do you want to really better understand the problem by collecting data and then analyzing to make sense of it to help you to better understand the problem before you even suggest some intervention? What methodology do you have to use, right? How do you assess the intervention that you want to implement? These are the things that you have to think of, especially those who are doing action research. In terms of if you're not doing action research, what you have to think about is that you may have to go back to the literature and see what research has been done in terms of the problem. What kind of intervention have they provided? What currently been done to solve the problem? Which aspect of the problem that it has not been solved? Reviewing literature can also help you to narrow down the problem that you really want to address in your study. So what are the takeaways? So the takeaways always have to make sure that you define the problem. You clearly define the problem, right? You have to identify people who are affected by the problem, who are positively or maybe negatively affected by the problem, and provide information about why and the implications. You have to also consider some methodologies and feasibilities in terms of doing research to help address the problem. So these are the things that you have to think about it. One caveat I want to say is that there are some studies that you don't have to think about a practical problem. Let's say you are doing research to maybe test a specific theory, right? You may not really identify maybe a practical problem before you look into testing a specific theory. So sometimes you may not clearly identify a practical problem, but still in your research, you have to have a research gap, a research problem, right? The research problem is a problem that you have identified in the literature, right? The research problem is very important because that is going to help you to come up with the purpose of the study and the research questions, and then collecting data and help you to address the question in a way, also helping to address fill the gap and contribute to the field. So this presentation is limited to the practical problem, and then next time I'll be talking about the research problem. But if you're so struggling about coming up with a practical problem, can you use AI to help you? Yes, you can do that. And I'm going to show you how to use AI to help you to do that. There's so many AI tools. There are so many AI tools there. But the ones that I really have used and then is helping me are the two tools here. We call the first one is the ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you how to use that. And the second one is this Perplexity. So let's go to ChatGPT and see what we have. Before we go, I just want to give you this example. Imagine that I'm interested in a topic, right? So let me make this one a little bit bigger so that you can see. So let's say your research interest is about AI agents, right? If we follow the news about AI innovations, one of the trends that's going on right now is that AI companies are now focusing more on coming out of AI agents, right? So the work of an AI agent is to help solve a specific problem for you. So you ask the agent to do a specific task. The agent go and work on it and then bring you the results, and then you could provide some feedback to the system. So imagine that you have a group of agents that can do research on your behalf. Come up with the research problem, come up with the purpose of the study, come up with a methodology, look for data, collect data, analyze, and provide you the results, right? And your role here is to supervise the information that they are giving you. So what is the role of social science researchers? If we have an influx of agents, right, how does it impact the social science research? So imagine that you are interested in knowing more about the practical problem associated with this influx of AI agents. Can you ask ChatGPT to help you to come up with a group of problems, right? And then you can choose from the problem and then use it for your research. So what we're going to use here is we're going to try to use GPT-4o, and then we're going to also click on search engine then so that it can search the website and provide some information that's going to be helpful for you. We're also going to use Perplexity. One thing I like about Perplexity is that when you ask the system a question, it goes and browse the sources online and bring you the relevant source and summarize and provide you the answer and also give you the source, right? And that's what I like about Perplexity. So it looks like these AI tools could be helpful because what you are doing is that you want a system to give you some information about a specific problem, but it also give you sources so that the information will be more reliable because they are not making things up. They have evidence online to provide to you. And we will try and also use reasoning R1. So the R1 is an AI model developed in China, and it's performing very well. So we're gonna try that. It's free to use under Perplexity, so you can explore and see what you're going to get. And lastly, I'm going to talk about the social science studies simulator. It's a very good AI tool that I created that is helping researchers to think about the potential benefits and limitations of their study before they do the actual study. And that's what I like about this tool. So this tool will be very helpful if you can get access to it, right? I'll put a link there, and so that you'll be able to get access to this tool, which will be very helpful by just paying $15 to help this project. Okay, so now let's move on and go to ChatGPT, and I'm going to really show you how to. So the prompt that we're going to use is this prompt, right? So we are indicating that you are a social science researcher. You are interested in how the influx of AI agents impact how we do social science research, right? And so we are asking the system to provide us potential practical problems, right? And we also indicating here that this one will help us to work on our research gap and also the purpose of the study. So this is the information that you want to give to the system and see what you're going to get, right? So let's copy this one and go to ChatGPT and put the information there. We have ChatGPT here. Make sure that you select ChatGPT 4o and then you paste the prompt here, right? And see what you're going to get. Before you click on enter, you have to make sure that you click on search, right? Why do you have to click on search? We want the system to give us potential problems that has support from the literature or from a source, right? So first, it makes the problem more reliable in terms of the need to do research, and secondly, it's also help you to know the source of that problem so they can read a lot about it. So it's very important for you to click on the search. It's for the system to search the web, and then when you are done, you click on enter. So you can see that the system has suggested some problems that we can focus on, right? So you just have to choose the one that you feel comfortable or you see the need for you to do research. One of the problems is a bias in AI system. So it's just telling us that one of the practical problem is that AI is inherently biased because it's trained with information that has biased ideas in there. It may impact how it performs when you ask it to do a specific job for you. So the bias is one of the problem, right? I think you also have to think about this way, just like a researcher, qualitative research, we have our own biases, right? Imagine that you have a research assistant and you ask the assistant to do research for you. They may have some biases there that may impact the research. So if you don't put strategy in place, if you don't provide information or coach the person to bracket all the biases that they have, the results may be impacted or influenced by their own preconceived ideas. So it's the same thing as AI agents. Because they have been fed with a lot of information and they may also have biased information, it might affect what they do, right? So that's the problem that we have to address. The ethical consideration, right? You are deploying AI to do a specific research. There's an ethical concern that we have to think about. Issues related to privacy, consent, and also potential misuse of AI generated data, right? And I think that we have to be really careful about as social science researchers. Next one is transparency and replicability. This one is so interesting. It's very important because we're going to have a lot of AI agents, right? Millions of agents that will become. And then as a researcher, you decide the agent that you want to use. And you may not know how the bias that an agent has, right? We don't have that information. It can affect the task that you ask the system to complete. So that is very important research that you could do, right? So another aspect is the data quality and representation. I think you can also look at this one too. And environmental impact of deploying AI agent. The last one is proliferation of low quality research, right? So I think that there's going to be low quality research because first, how will you know whether agent is best qualified to do that research, right? Because as a researcher, we may not know more information about how they are even trained, what kind of data they were given, right? And because of that, there's going to be a lot of insufficient or incapable or not efficient agent doing research for us, and then they will come up with results that may adversely affect the quality of the research that you are doing. So all these are the problems that we have to focus on. This one gives you ideas about the specific problems. So now you gave the system an interest, they gave you a lot of problems that you may choose from, right? So we can choose from the first one, bias in AI systems, right? And then so now when you decide, you can click on this one to learn more about the issue of bias, right? And this is an article that is showing, you can read more. So you see how you'll be able to read more about the problem, and I think that also will shape the specific problem we want to address. So that's what I like, that you click on search so that the system searches internet and give you the sources. So you can click on these things and learn more about the problem that you want to focus on. So imagine that you have decided about a problem. What next? So what you could do is that you can give a second prompt. So this is a prompt that we can use. So let me put a prompt here and adjust it a little bit. So I will say, if this problem is about bias in AI systems, can you help me draft my practical problem, right? So you are asking the system to help you to draft. Now you have identified a problem, you want the system to help you to draft. And let's see what the system comes up with. So you click on enter, and this is what you get. And you see the system always giving you some evidence or information. Some of them may be questionable, Wikipedia, but it gives you some information outside that you'll be able to use to help you to construct your problem. You don't have to directly use all this information, but it gives you an idea about the best way to construct the practical problem that you want to address in your study before you talk about the research problem. And I like that it gives you all the resources to focus on. So you see that it has talking about the fact that bias in AI system poses significant challenges for social science researchers, as these biases can compromise the validity and reliability of research findings. So you see how it's giving you the implications of the problem. So see how here he's also giving an example of a situation, right, where bias can exist, right? So if you are emphasizing on when an AI tool that has been fed or trained on data that has biases, how it can also affect the data collection and also analysis, right? For instance, facial recognition technologies have demonstrated higher error rate in identifying individuals with darker skin tone, leading to potential misrepresentation in research outcomes. Perfect. So you see how it's also giving specific example in supporting the problem, right? Evident in supporting the problem, and also side source. People want to know what is the specific problem that you're addressing, who are being affected, what are the implications. Can you give some examples, right? And then conclude about the need. What is the essence of addressing this problem? And that's what people want to know about the practical problem. As I say, you don't have to copy and paste this one, but this one gives you an idea about the structure of a practical problem. And lastly, let's do the last prompt and see. Let's say you want to know what has been done. What has been done, who is affected by this problem, which aspect of the problem needed to be explored in the research. Let's find out what is going on. Maybe you want to know more about a problem, right? And let's see what the system will give us. So what has been done? So this one gives you information about what can currently be done about the problem, right? I think this one is very important because you don't want to research on a problem that has already been solved. So this one gives you an idea about, okay, what specific action has already been taken, right? And you see the action that has been taken to help address the problem. And also here it talks about who has been affected: marginalized community, women, and individual with disabilities has also been affected by that. And also the research gap, it gives you information about the research gap. And I think that you don't have to focus on it for now, but I think it gives you an idea about what kind of gap there may be in the literature. So this part also emphasized the need for research. Although there has been things that has already been done, the problem still exists, and you want to do research to address that. And this also helps you to communicating the significance of the problem. Why do we have to spend time and resources doing research to address this problem? So these are the things that you may gain, and this information may help you to think about your practical problem. Let's move on to Perplexity and give the same prompt and see what we're going to get. So I'm going to Perplexity AI, and then the first one will be, so let me give the first one. You can choose any of these models. The one that I wanted to use was the R1, which is the new model developed in China, and it's doing marvelous job. When you ask it a question, it takes time to reason, think about possible answers before it provides you the final information, and that's what is good, right? So you can use it, or you can choose auto. So let's try to use auto so that the system will choose the model based on what you are asking it. So you click on enter, and let's see what you're going to get. So quickly, the system has provided us as a social science. These are the things that you're going to focus on. It's similar to the one we got from ChatGPT: data, bias and fairness. And the second one is ethical concern, and transparency and explainability, right? The black box, I think that information, we also got that from ChatGPT. But this, I like this clean structure, right? And the good thing is they also provide you research articles, right, in helping you to understand the problem. So you can click on these links and then read some of the research articles that the system provide. Some are research articles, some are just articles from websites. So that's what you're going to get. I think it gave excellent information that's going to really help you to think about the problem. So you can choose one of the problems. So let's assume that we are choosing the first problem, and let's see what the system will give us in terms of constructing the practical problem. So let me copy the data, bias, and also fairness and bring that information here. Okay, so you can see here the system has been able to help us with the drafting of the practical problem, right? So it's so interesting that increasing reliance on AI agents in social science research poses significant challenges related to data bias and fairness, right? AI models are only as good as the data they are trained on. And if this data reflects existing societal biases, these models can perpetuate and even amplify discrimination. I think this is quite similar to the one that Twitter gave us. You see, the system specifically stated a problem, gave us a little bit of an implication of the problem, why the problem exists, right? How it may affect research, and then provide an example, right? So that is very important, and it also gives us the specific issues that, but I think I like this one. So I think the pattern here is that tell your audience what the problem is. You give better explanation of the problem and sometimes provide evidence in support. Further explanation could be who have been affected, what are the implications of the problem, and what has been currently been done and what is still there that has not been done. That is how you present a practical problem. And I think this information will be really helpful. Let's do the last prompt and see. So what has been done concerning this problem? I think these are the action that has already been taken, or what is being taken now, and who is affected, marginalized community, women. And I think this one is quite similar to what we got from ChatGPT, and then it gives you some aspect of the problem that needs to be explored, right? And then you can also choose from any of these. So this also gives you some information that will help you to construct a practical problem, especially when you're trying to narrow down and focus on a specific one, right? So this is what I have for you. The last thing I want to really share, custom GPT app that I have created. It's called Social Science Study Simulator. This one is so powerful. If you have a research idea, right, and you want to think through what to expect, what kind of data that you may need, what methodologies that you may go through, what kind of results that you may find, and what kind of implication this tool is good for you. You just give the system your research interest and the system will be able to provide you all the information that you need. Example, let's use this prompt and see what you're going to get. You can tell your system your interest, and then the system will be able to provide you a very good information to start with. It just simulates your research, provide you, and you can ask further questions. You can even ask the system to provide you synthetic data and for you to make sense of it and see how your research is going to look like before you do the research. That's amazing about this too. Imagine that you can say, I'm interested in how the influx of AI agents impact how we do social science research. And let's see what the system gives you, right? It's telling you that this topic is very interesting and timely. And then, so these are a few key things that you have to think about, right? These are some of the areas that you may be able to investigate. So new research subject, AI as an agent, as social actors. So you see how the system is giving you ideas that you can do research and then learn more about it, right? And it's asking you, would you like to explore specific angle further, Yeah, you can say yes for now. And then the system will be able to provide you a lot of information that will help you to think about this area. So they're giving you some ideas about, okay, you can do AI qualitative research, and these are the things that you can focus on. You can do experimental simulations using AI-driven models to test social theories before real world implementation, right? You can also focus on ethical consent. So it's giving you ideas about what kind of areas that you may be able to focus on. So let's say I want to focus on this area, right? I can let me copy and put it here and see what the system would do. So it's giving you how it's kind of help you, and also the limitation and strength. So it's giving you areas that you could do research on. Okay, so imagine you have an idea about what you want to study, right? Let's go back here. You go to, if you want to start a new conversation, click on this here, and then you click on new chat. Right. So let's say I want to explore perception about AI agents for social science research. So now you see the system is giving me the research question that I can focus on, and giving me about 4 research questions. And then the methodology, it says I can do a survey. I can develop a survey and find out from researchers about their views. And I can do about the trust of AI, about their perception about its usefulness, the concern that they have in a survey. I can also do the qualitative component could be the interview or focus groups. So the last point is a synthetic parallel study. And it's asking me whether I want it to generate data sets and also analyze and give me some results for me to get an idea before I do the actual study. Yes, you can proceed. So imagine that you have done a survey with 200 participants, and these are the demographics, right? And this gives you information about the statement, the Likert scale, and also how the results are going to look like. This is amazing, right? And so it gives you all these components under the survey. So all these are the statements, and also the mean, and also the standard deviation. And then for the qualitative, these are the results based on 20 participant day interview and the system interview. So you see how at the background the system have interviewed 20 participants, and this is what the results looks like, right? So these are the things that you may see when you collect your actual data, and then it gives you the takeaway. That's so good, right? It asks me, will you like me to refine any aspect of the study or generate more specific subgroups analysis? And let me know how you would like to proceed. So you can go on and explore more to get what you need before you do an actual research. So that's what really I like about this tool. So in summary, this is what this tool can do for you, the social science study simulator. So as you can see here, this software can help you to develop synthetic data and also analyze and give you the result to get an idea about how your study is going to look like when you do actual study. It can also give you some ethical implications, right? It can give you some information about theories and how the results are linked to the theory. It can provide you some recommendation and also the implications, right? So this too is so important. Before you spend money and time doing research, you're already getting an idea about what you're going to get. When you get access to I'll put a link in the video description, and you'll be able to click on it and get access to this document. It's free to use this custom AI tool in ChatGPT. But to get access to the link, is $15 to get access to the link. This $15 is to support my work, right? As I spend time developing tools like this to help researchers, right? So when you get access to the link, you'll be able to go to ChatGPT to use it for free. But to get access to the link, you'll be able to get this document explaining what the tool does. And also it gives you some potential prompts that you could use, right? These are all potential prompts that you can adjust and use, and that would be very useful for you. And if you have any question as you use it, you can email me and let me know. You give me feedback, and also if you have a specific question, email me. This is my email address. You can contact me, and then I'll be able to provide you all the needed support or the answer your question that you have. So this is what I have for you. These are some of my books that you can get access to it. If you want to learn about a practical problem, research problem, and other things, or you are working on a dissertation, then this book is going to be so useful. It gives you all the needed information for you to help you to work on your dissertation. So, you can get access to when you go to Amazon. I'll put a link in the description to get it. So it's Dissertation Research Methods. It's a very good book, and you'll be able to learn more about research and also doing your dissertation, right? So this is what I have for you. I also provide consultation. So if you're interested, you can email me and I'll be happy to meet you and have a discussion about your research. So thank you so much for your time. I hope this presentation, I know it's long, but I hope this presentation was helpful for you. Thank you.